Hey y'all, take this out my ear. Hey y'all, what's up? Listen, I'm waiting for Tasha K to go on with the girlfriend. And this is a labor of love for y'all because Tasha K grates my nerves. I've never really listened to her. Ooh. So while I'm waiting for it to go live, I went to go look at that interview she's been promoting with Kitten Hill's Samuel. Shout out to my subscriber. I forgot your name. I'll give you a shout out next time. That told me his name is created the Kitten Hill Samuel's moniker. Listen, first of all, I made a video a while back making fun of Joe Button and Kevin Sandals, just saying they like a good crop blazer, you know, two guys that like, you know, that little fit. Neither of them can dress. Both of them are as misogynistic as hell. But the thing is, I didn't drag Kevin Samuels. I was really a little bit low-key, just teasing Joe Button. I had so many comments in my channel. When I say comments, I laugh. Because it was just like, oh, you know, you're pretty, but I don't see a ring. You ain't be picked yet. That you can tell you're just going to be passed around. There was so much hate in my comments because there were a bunch of people, an army of people that follow him around, delivering and trying to break women, especially black women, down to the white meat. Now, it's not going to work because it's just not going to work. However, I want you to keep that in mind as we dive into the Kevin Samuels interview with, I don't even want to say the queen of the pick-me's, but the friend of the queen that nobody wants. I don't know how to describe Tasha K, but she is a pick-me to her heart. And as a woman, what she did was so irresponsible, giving Kevin Samuels a platform. Because y'all, I don't know if you've ever watched Kevin Samuels. Kevin Samuels is dangerous. Kevin Samuels, I believe, the only interest he has is to break down the psyche of women, but black women in particular. He let a lot out in his interview. And I see now when he talks about where he came from, you know, he grew up talking about, I know how black people are, I know how my mom is, all my aunts, and I grew up seeing black women, they get paid on Friday, and then, you know, it was spent on Ripple and cigarettes, and they were broke by Monday. Sir, you grew up, where did you grow up, sir? In an episode of Good Times, Sanford and Son, I'm really, really serious. You grew up, it sounds like, in abject poverty, pretty much, right? Some days were better than others. And there was also some type of systematic, not systematic, but maybe generational sadness, maybe generational depression, because your father, all the women were in the house and they had children. No man was in the house. Kevin Samuels' dad had 13, 14 kids. He doesn't even know his siblings. So I'm guessing that there was an irresponsible man in life, which was the father, and that made things difficult for all the women around, leading to, when they got paid, maybe wanting to drown their sorrows in Ripple. But I doubt that's it, because you have food on the table and you had a bed over your head. So anyway, let me get into this, right? From the gate, I took so many notes, I couldn't even use my handy dandy notebook, right? I'm mad about this. From the gate, she starts to legitimize him, right? She makes comments in the preview. Look at the way you're dressed and you're presented. He's wearing a damn suit. Tasha K, where do you live? Who do you hang around? Who be your people? It's like, what is going on? Why are you acting like black people are out here running around like savages? What is wrong with you? We've all seen black men in suits. Anyway, she touches on the fact that people think he's gay, but she understands because her husband might be gay. Saying, you know, when you walked in, I expected you to be feminine, but no, you're not gay. Tasha, I really felt like striking that YouTube thing down. You cannot tell if somebody's gay just by looking at them. If somebody chooses to be flamboyant, fine, but you cannot tell somebody's gay by walking into the room. You realize that, right? It's not even about them hiding it. It's just about the way they carry themselves. Just like when I walk into the room, you cannot tell that much about, you cannot tell anything really about my preferences sexually. Just like, anyway, let's move on, right? So let's see, right? She sits down, she automatically starts. And I was like, I already knew. And I was like, God damn, it's going to be some bullshit. She's like, wow, you're such a good looking man. You walked in the room, you're tall, you're handsome. Yuck. That's all I kept thinking. Yuck. Can we move on, right? Then it really made me mad because in 7, so mad I can't remember. Kitten Hill Samuels starts smoozing with her, being really swarmy, right? And she's like, yeah, you know, this and that. Look at you. You're so this, you're so that. She likes Kevin Samuels. She admires him. She's one of those pick-me's. In my opinion, if she didn't have her platform, would be calling in the show, letting Kevin Samuels abuse her because she thinks that he holds the keys of getting a man like him. She really honestly thinks Kevin Samuels is a high-value man. He is garbage. He is dirt, right? Not even for the way he talks, but honestly, guys that look and dress like Kevin Samuels are a dime a dozen. Again, I don't know what circles you are in, but I don't know. And then it also occurred to me, he wouldn't even be there if you didn't have that platform. He wouldn't even look. You are the epitome of the type of woman he likes dragging. You got short hair, right? You speak in a aggressive black woman manner, right? Let's be real, right? You speak with bass in your voice. You speak with intention. This is how she's made a career. But to him, that's a turnoff, right? You do not look model size, right? You have kids. He wouldn't look twice at you. He wouldn't even want to help you. He wouldn't even want to know that he even rolled with you. You are beneath him. You are scum to him. And you're sitting up there in your pick-me princess shit. Be like, oh my God, you're so good. I couldn't, right? Then she acts like, oh, is this wine okay for you? And he's like, where is this from? California to 1996. And she's like, 'cause you know, you're a sommelier. A lot of people don't know that. Tasha K, shut your dumb, uneducated self up. I waited tables. Every person that works in any type of steakhouse or any restaurant that serves anything dealing with wine has sommelier training. Kevin Samuels is not a sommelier. He got wine training like we all do. To go be a sommelier, you actually have to go through an intensive 2 or 3 year course. He never did that. But he is fine to sit there and do what he always does, which is faking the funk, swirling that wine in his glass, acting like he knows something because he has a pick-me that he would never choose, because that's a dynamic he likes, right? You gotta be a pick-me, but you also gotta be a pick-me he would never choose. In his face, stroking his ego, acting like he just walked on water. Let's move on, right? He talks about he grew up in a fractured family. I see where his hate and animosity for women comes from. And yes, I do think that, I don't think that he plays for our team, because honestly, the level of animosity he has, I have seen it in men that are closeted before, and I'm not making generals, I'm just saying the people I know. I've seen it come out because that hostility that you can't be who you want to be comes out. But that said, what do I know? Maybe he's just a regular old run-of-the-mill asshole. You know what? Let's just act like he's just a regular old run-of-the-mill asshole. Talks about the fractured family. His father was a Rolling Stone. He heard everything from women's viewpoint. He got in. Sir, you grew up with a mother that was drinking Ripple, spending, according to you, all the rent money on Ripple and cigarettes, and it was gone by Monday. And all your aunts did it, and everything else did it. Do you really think that that's the best representation for black women? Oh, but it must be. Because then country-ass Tasha K comes in and it's like, oh yeah, I know how that is. Okay, so you guys trauma bonded because you both grew up in families that weren't shit, or at the very least wasn't shit, and at the very best had generational trauma that for whatever reason they could not be the ones to break it. I see Tasha K's trying to break it. I'm not knocking what she's doing because she's trying to make a success out of herself. I see Kevin Samuels trying to make something to be a success out of herself. But the way you choose to make a suggestion, to break that generational trauma is to throw up on everybody else, right? To throw up on everybody else, right? You're going to punish every woman because you, and I broke him down psychologically. Because again, let me tell you where it is. He said that he went to school. They were super poor. His mom was like a maid to a rich family. They grew up super poor, but his mom put this hubris in his head, but you're a Samuel and you better always look the best, have the best, get it best, right? And he would go to like these very nice places and very nice schools and have to come home to the project. So you got an inferiority complex because you always thought you were an imposter and you always thought you're a pretender. He talks about it later on, the way when he first started, people are like, yo, I like you, but you're so corny. And they didn't lie. He is, right? I like you but you're so corny. So he changed his image. Again, that imposter syndrome kicked in and he changed his image to be what he thought everybody would accept, right? He also, in Oklahoma is highly segregated, right? He obviously grew up poor. He grew up in generational things. Let me tell you something. And he heard women and his dad wasn't around. It doesn't sound like he was in his life at all. Let me tell you what happened, right? Inferiority complex. Your mother worked at a maid for, I imagine, is a very stressful job, very demeaning job. I imagine she came home exhausted, tired. You've been waiting on people all day. As a service worker, in this case, you are a domestic worker, you come home and you flip out on everybody around you because you've been working for everybody else. Then you don't have energy to take care of your own household, right? She drank, she smoked. He was surrounded by women. It sounds like a very, very, very traumatic, but not, how do you say it? Very, very traumatic, but not exceptional in any way. It's a phenomenon, but it's not an extraordinary phenomenon. It's just a thing that happened, right? That happens to many, many people. So we go through all that. So in my opinion, what happened is you grew up seeing your mom and aunts. You grew up, they were hot messes. You saw your dad wasn't around and you started to have a lot of hate and contempt for your mom and family, and which was all women. And because of that, right, you started thinking it's your fault dad's not around. Maybe if you acted more feminine, maybe if you did this, maybe you made yourself more high value, then dad would be around. And as he got older, he saw that a lot of people were willing to feed into his contempt for women. And what's more, a lot of women like these dumbass Tasha K's would come around and feed in that too. And just like that, boom, magic was born. You know, he talks about, that's his origin story. That's his goddamn origin story. That's where his problem is, where his hate, that's where his contempt, that's where this maniacal, like pleasure he gets out of humiliating women, because he thinks that if only his mom would have acted right, probably his dad would still be there. But let me tell you something. Your mom had a baby with somebody that wasn't shit. It is a common thing. She had whatever, but the fact that you chose to blame your mom for your dad not being around, I know I'm armchair analyzing, but I got his number, right? Then he talks about, right, why Tasha K is stroking his ego, right? Then he talks about, listen, you know, we just want to tell the truth. A lot of times men couldn't tell the truth. They would be in the barber shop, they would be on the basketball court, and it was okay back then, but now they can't talk a trap. Ninja, what are you talking about? Let me tell you something. Back then, it would be in the barbershop. Back then, it would be on the basketball court, right? Sorry, y'all. You know my phone's always going dead. They would be, where was I? They would be on the courts. They would be, and let me tell you something. They would be sitting there talking shit to their homeboy about, yeah, I would have did this. I would have told her that. Man, let me tell you how to make a bee beg. Let me tell you something. It was all bullshit. And you know why it stayed on those courts? You know why it stayed? Because most people had sense to know that shit doesn't fly in real life. You can talk about what, who, how, when, this you were going to do to whoever, but you would have never said that to your face. And you would have never thought you could get an army of idiots to feed into you. But the internet age is different, right? Anybody with a microphone can put the bullhorn, can put it out, and they will get their throng of idiots. Anybody can do that, and they will get their throng of idiots. But the fact that you think that you're preaching truth, and it's just the fact that that toxic shit is now out there. So you might be in your neighborhood saying that toxic shit, and most people are like, you're insane. But because you got the World Wide Web, you can get like the toxic idiots from like every neighborhood all across America. And now you maybe got 2,000 or 3,000 people. Man, Kevin, whatever, right? Tasha K, hyping him up. I grew up around all brothers, and your brothers weren't shit. Your brothers sound like they weren't shit, just like Kevin. I never realized that people that come from really, really, really dysfunctional places assume that everybody else grew up like that. And here's what's saying, I'm not saying I grew up in a Brady Bunch situation. I mean, yeah, my parents were like really good. You know, I know like there's a lot of things that I like lucked out on, but I didn't luck out more than anybody else. Yes, there is good and bad, but at the end of the day, this toxic shit where I grew up with all this, like, it's just ridiculous, right? Like, can y'all stop it? More people are like me with a mixture of, yeah, there are some generational curses, but for the most part, we're doing all right, right? Most Black people grew up like that, right? And she said, I like the fact that you were honest with sisters. How is telling a woman that she looks like Emmett Till being honest? How is telling someone they need to accept that they are a hard five being honest? That's not being honest. That's forcing someone to accept your reality. Let me tell you something. I have a very high opinion of myself, right? Right? A very, very high opinion. There's been, what am I saying? There are still people telling me I need to get a nose job, fix my face, do this. You know what? And fuck them. Do you know why? Because how do you let somebody else influence your perception of what you are worth? If I ask you what you think you're worth, I don't care if you look like Princess Fiona after she kissed Shrek. You're worth everything. You're worth what you ask for. Let me tell you something, and this is what Kevin Samuels and Tasha K, why I think is so dangerous, because you and me, I assume you're over 18, right? If you're not, go and ask your mom if it's okay to watch this, okay? But you and me, we know the bullshit, right? If you're watching this channel, you know the bullshit, right? If you're not, you're probably a Kevin Samuels fan. Go ahead and dislike and leave a comment, because it still pushes up my algorithm. So thank you, thank you, thank you, right? But the fact of the matter is you are perpetrating this vicious, toxic thing of what a woman needs that is fueled by patriarchy, but it's also fueled by hate of women. Tasha K hates women too, right? She lets it out. Fueled by hate and jealousy of women, and also men that want to actually push women down, right? The queen of the pick me. Come on, I don't pander to men. All you've been doing is pandering to this, like, Lord Voldemort. Like, he's literally Lord Voldemort on screen in person, right? Anyway, you know, and she's like literally like respectful. You say it with a smile's better. She's like one of those pick-me's, right? And she's like, oh, what's the message? You know, they talk about the way, like, she's like, oh, people come at you and this and that. And you can see she's projecting herself, because Tasha K is a loudmouth jerk. And that's why I don't listen to her. I'm mad. I'm not going to skip it, but I'm mad. I got to watch it, right? But also, it's like, Tasha, this is actually dangerous. Somebody can tell you, think about any time somebody's dropped poison in your head. Yeah, sometimes it comes with harshness, but a lot of times that poison is dropped where people say it very, very respectfully. It's said with a smile. It's okay. You know that teacher that told you, it's okay, you're just not good at math, right? It's the boyfriend that smiled at you and was like, it's okay, you're just not that smart. Do you see what I'm saying? That is the poison that gets dropped in your head that you really, really internalize, right? And the fact that you're saying all these evil things with a smile, Kevin, she talks about, like, oh, I remember that thing when you were talking to an average 5 and she wanted a dentist. Is that where we're at? Is that where we're at? You hang around people that somebody that wanting to date a dentist is like saying you want to date with Bill Gates. And you know what? Fuck it. I don't care if it was Bill Gates. Yeah, I'm good enough to date Bill Gates. As a matter of fact, make my nose pass along. But the whole thing is, right? The fact that you somehow still roll in circles, that you think that someone doesn't deserve a 5, doesn't deserve a dentist. It's a goddamn dentist. And I'm not taking anything away from a dentist, but you are human. What am I saying? Everybody's human. Why is a dentist too good? She really feeds into that narrative where it's like, what you think Black women don't deserve? Luxury, right? And then she's like, but if you want to be with a guy like that, you got to act the part. To be with a dentist? We are not talking about saying you are First Lady of the United States or you are marrying into the royal family where there is etiquette and there is this and there is protocol. It's a goddamn dentist. But the fact that for Black women, you think, Tasha and Kevin Samuels, that we have to work so hard to deserve the bare minimum. It's sickening. Let's get into this, right? then Kevin starts into the plight of the black man, because did you know the black man's, I bet you as black women and maybe black men that's watching did not know that the black man has had it worse than anyone. He talks about like, she's like, how do you deal with it? How do you deal with like presenting so well and knowing that's not the image of black men usually? Again, Tasha K, what, have you made it out the projects yet? And no shade to anyone that lives in the projects, but she acts like she lives in like the movie versions of the projects. Like, damn, bitch, get up, get dressed and go to Macy's, Bloomingdale's, or like whatever store is down in Atlanta. Go see something. God. So anyway, she was like, there's only a handful of men and American men that look and dress like you. So I had to go someplace else overseas, because did you know my husband's African? And that's where I saw this nexus. Y'all both grew up in gutter country project situations. No shade to anybody, but y'all grew up hating and resenting yourselves. There was no pride in that, right? Tasha K has the same fetish that Kevin Samuels does, but the thing is, Kevin Samuels has a fetish for foreign women. Tasha K has a fetish for foreign black men. Kevin Samuels will date anybody but a black woman, or a woman, depending on who you ask, right? And she was like, she was like, yeah, and then you talk about a lot of women where, they look for the wrong things. This is Tasha K. They want to have this status affirmed. They're label happy. They're car happy. They're other women, and they're having kids by these status men. And then they find out that they can't handle being it. They got to watch the kids. They got to cook. Bitch, if I marry a high status man, please believe I'm going to have a nanny. And you know what else? Please believe we're going to have a housekeeper. What are you talking about? Again, you and Kevin are trying to act like this high value shit, but you're letting us know you're still from the gutter. Because let me tell you something. You think Portia is ever going to have to cook Simon Nigerian food? Let's be real. She might do it on Valentine's Day to be like, oh, look what the cook taught me. But you really think Simon doesn't have a private chef? You think he even wants his woman in the kitchen cooking? For what? His woman is there to love him, to entertain him. Again, you guys keep talking about high status people, men or women. You think it's important to well, probably it is important to Candy if Todd's making her dinner. But my point being, you think that Candy needs Todd doing something like mowing the lawn when she has a gardener to do it? When you marry a mate that is very successful, the things that a broke person needs you to do is not the same things. No shade to anybody that likes cooking, no shade to anybody that likes doing art, but you understand what I'm saying. So you're giving information about how to get a high net individual, but you're teaching them how to date for somebody that basically works at McDonald's. Yeah, they're out all day, but neither of you, because you're a stay-at-home mom, if they give you that luxury, because Kevin Samuels won't. If you're black, you better not. You better get yourself up. Alexa, play Britney Spears' Work, bitch. You better get yourself up and work. But my whole point is, when we get into that, right, you're teaching how to work with somebody that's broke, where you have to, one person provides and the other person takes care of all the division of housework labor, because there's no money to actually breathe and let somebody in. There's no shade in it, but the fact that you guys are preaching, I'm gonna show you how to get a high value man, she's talking about this stuff. And also let me know, Tasha K, you're a goddamn hater. Label happy. So all this time you've been building your network, right? All this time you've been building your channel, you've just been sitting there hating on all the girls that got bags and cars and all this stuff. But what's the problem? You got your African that knows how to dress in a suit, and you got your little checkbox better than black Americans, right? So even the way she said, for a second, I lost faith in black American men. You notice she didn't say black men. She just said black American men. They were ready. I wonder, that's why they had that affinity to each other. They both have that hate for their American blackness, but Tasha K will at least wants a black man. Kevin Samuels, he wants foreign, everything foreign. His underwear, his cars, everything, right? Then he talks about, she's talking about she's a country girl and very spiritual. Yeah, anyway. She said how to sell to black people, the consumer class, right? Kevin Samuels is talking about, he read a book about how to sell to black people, the consumer class. They both go in, black woman, Tasha K, she had to, Miss Pick Me had to get it in. Yeah, Black women, they follow trends. And listen, let me tell you why they're both so stupid. Because you know what the other side of that conversation is? Black women follow trends. Bitch, we make trends. You talk about you've been all over the world. You haven't been any goddamn where. Let me tell you something. I've been all over the world. Bitch, we make trends as a culture. Do you know why there's a marketing thing on how to sell to Black people? Because anything we touch becomes hot. Anything we touch becomes hot. That's why designer houses always invest, now that Black rappers know to get in on this money, why they're always getting paid partnerships that you guys don't know about, because we make the goddamn trends. We are the fucking culture. Even overseas, when they talk about American culture, they're talking about our culture. And the fact that Kevin Samuels and the fact that Tasha K is sitting there ashamed of the one thing that makes them fucking special, and the one thing that sets them apart is it's disgrace. It's a disgrace. Let me calm down. It's a disgrace. I am sick of this internalized hate that we have for ourselves. Why do you want to sit there and act like you're a rich man from Paris, a rich old man from Paris? Why do you think the epitome of culture is acting like you're from Norway or Venice? No shade from being from any of those places, but why? Why do you believe that is the epitome of culture when, bitch, we are the culture? Look at all the top fashion houses. Look at any Instagram of any rich restaurant. Everybody is trying to dress like Shaquanda and Hakeem for the hood. So why are we ashamed of that? Why are we ashamed of what makes us special? You know what? Everybody can say what they want about Beyonce. She had a point when she's like, yo, we need to embrace the country shit that we run from, the country shit we don't want to be. I'm not talking about the Tasha K and the Kevin Samuels. I'm talking about the Beyonce Knowles, Giselle Knowles, Summer Carter, whatever her name is, version of our culture. We need to embrace what is wrong, right? She went out the country. Shut up. And came back with what? Came back with what? Because you obviously didn't get assigned African, right? What's the rest of my notes, right? So then he starts with, you know, that Black women need to advocate for Black men's image, because you look at things like cops and how much their image has been slandered. Yeah, and guess what? The same way you guys were being arrested on cops, Black women were portrayed as every maid, hood rat, hooker, right? And on top of that, we got our own men on Instagram dogging us out, saying that they prefer women of whatever. So shut up. I'm not saying, listen, I'm not here in the struggle Olympics. Of course, systematic oppression has affected Black men, of course, but it's also affected Black women. Trying to say we only advocate for our own image and he doesn't blame us. Was that the Million Man March? It was more women than men. Man, shut up. Anyway, when he talks about most Black men are 50% single and childless, I don't believe that. Somebody check that stats. And even if they are, what is your point? What is your point? What is your point? You know, Black men in the media, you know, they want, so basically Kevin Samuels is trying to make a race of dummies to continue, of dummy Black women like Tasha K that will pour into Black men, but Black men don't owe us anything. And I'm not turning this into the men or women. I'm talking about the Kevin Samuels men. Maybe I shouldn't even say Black men, because maybe he's even expanded, right? We're talking about keep paid by Friday, cigarettes and Ripple by Sunday. Sir, that sounds like oppression to me, right? Then we get into why he showed up there, because I said, why is he sitting there looking at Tasha K's face, knowing he finds her disgusting, knowing he finds her vulgar, knowing from what Kitten Hill has taught his disciples is a low-value woman that shouldn't even be, sorry, my lips are getting chapped talking so much shit, that shouldn't even be, entertained, right? He said that now he's starting a situation where he's going to change his platform for when there's a discussion, and then it's a breakout discussion with the audience, and then he moderates. He's basically trying to start like a relationship talk show, probably to be picked up by some network. I don't care. I will stop watching any network that puts that man and that hate monger on. But, and then Tasha K, she is so stupid. Like, she genuinely is stupid. She said, oh, but I got her live actually playing in the background. Let me turn this mess off because I want to give her my AdSense dollars, right? Then she said, but I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't really want to air it because they might steal your idea, because people have stolen my idea, so they might steal your idea. Let me tell you something. Kevin, you literally said an idea that has been on every platform. And he knows that, because when she said that, he looked at her like, and paused, because he was like, God, this woman's so stupid. And she is. Even to the fact that she was like, if anybody downloads her stuff or puts it in, she's going to send copyright lawyers after them. She's stopping her own growth. The fact that she doesn't even know how entertainment law works, the fact that she doesn't know anything about copyright law, the fact that she doesn't even know that it's better if somebody uses your content and then blows up, and then you go and sue them for the royalties that you are required to give by law when you use somebody's content without permission. She's standing in her own way, blocking her own blessings, right? And then she starts giving Lord Voldemort, that's what I'm called Kitten Hill Samuels, a pep talk about how yada, 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 he's the best thing ever. Yo, let's move on. All right, I'm back. I had to calm down, but there's more. Where was I? Okay, so anyway, this interview is an hour and 15 minutes long. I know it's longer than one of my recaps, but it doesn't matter, because then we get to the real meat and butter. Then we get to why we are actually here. Kevin Samuels, like I mentioned, he wants to start a dating thing. He wants to become a dating guru, right? Please do not unleash Lord Voldemort on this earth. And then he starts with his lies, these big little lies. Oh, there's this one place where there were 8 couples, and I brought them together, and they became 16 people. They became 8 couples, and out of those 8 couples, 3 of them got engaged. Kevin, shut up. Give me their names. Where's your website? Put on the testimonial. See, here's the thing. Kevin Samuels used to be a he's been everything, right? He's been a sommelier. I'm waiting for him to tell me that he was president of the United States, right? Sorry, I'm just getting comfortable. But Kevin Samuels, he's been everything. And now he's gotten 3 people to marriage. Just lying. He used to be a salesperson. This is the con. This is the con. This is the con. That tell you anecdotal evidence of things that never happened. I did this. I did that. It's like when you go online, those people for Forex, it's like, oh, I made this person a millionaire, and I got this person in, and now they have a yacht. Where's their name? What's their Insta? Hit their tags. Did they tag you in their wedding? It's all bullshit. He is selling a con. He's selling a con, but there's also a sick level to it, because him and Tasha K, I feel like they are 2 agents of coonery destruction, that if they get their chance, they will return all of us to these toxic ways and toxic roles that serve nobody, that set these generational curses that we all suffer from in motion. And we're trying to break them. And it's 2021. These ties that bond, a woman has to stay down and be pick me and do this and that. And are you married? And then Tasha K starts on this bizarre thing. Sorry. You know, the rebrand. This is why he's talking so calmly. Then I started looking like, was Tasha K paid for this? Because why is she kissing his ass so much? This man is dangerous. This man does not like black women. He damn sure doesn't like black women that look like you. He doesn't even like women really addressing him, right? If anybody knows, you know what I'm talking about. And Tasha K's just giggling and this and that. And like, there's not too many men that look like you in the spaces you're in. Again, where do you hang out at? I want to say move out the projects, but what are you talking about? People in the projects walk by looking like Samuel. Listen, you know, he wants to rebrand. He wants to make this this get together of dating services for men, and he'll cancel the women. So basically you want to, in my mind, you want to start a giant pimp school where you break the women for them and bring broken women already to these high value men to do what they want. Y'all, don't get me started. Don't get me started. That's exactly what it starts from, right? It's going to be a funnel of broken women from men that need to stand on their necks to feel better. Mark my words, right? They're interviewing Kevin Samuels like, oh, I don't beef. You don't beef because people can rip you apart because you're a fraud. That's why you don't beef. You ever hear that thing about it's better to keep your mouth shut and remain a fool than open your mouth and leave nothing. That's why you don't beef, right? You know, then they start talking about, then Tasha K and they get together talking about like, oh, there's not too many people that look like us. Literally just praising each other. You guys, they are, forget the 4 horsemen. They are the 2 horsemen of coonery. They really want, yo, but you know why I really, definitely Kevin Samuels is trash. But Tasha K, you're the most dangerous, worst type of woman. Even he's like, she said, tell me your opinion of women with fake butts. What do you think of them? First of all, who cares what Kitten Hill Samuels feels? Do you care? Do you care? I don't. And Tasha, that's the ultimate. She's like, oh, I'm not a pick me. Do you know that is the ultimate pick me move? That is the ultimate pick me move when a woman walks in and another woman will be like, what do you think of her butt? What do you think of her surgically altered body? Do you like that? And she was like, my husband told me he doesn't like that. Really? Your husband told you he didn't like that? What was your husband supposed to say? Yeah, I love it. I love it. Yeah, do it. Of course he said he didn't like it. It's your husband. And then Kevin Samuel will actually lying with a straight face. We like you in your natural state. He was choking on his own spit because he was lying so bad. He kept looking at her like, oh, Lord, this is a mess. These 2 liars on the screen, lying, misleading women, setting up. And the fact that I don't know if she got paid for this or if she did it on her own. I really don't know what's worse. But you sold out your own women to this fucking... for this abomination. And for what? For cool points? Sis, did you get the validation you wanted? Did he pay you? I hope he paid you. Did you get the validation you wanted? Did you feel better about the girls with the nice booties and the small waists and the designer bags and designer shoes and kids they don't know how to take care of and a man they don't know how to cook for? Did you get the validation you wanted? I hate Tasha K. I'm so mad that mistress went on her show and I have to watch this trash box negative person. But that said, I do it for my people. I don't do it for anyone else. Y'all owe me. Y'all owe me. Y'all owe me. Anyway, another video will be up. Kitten Hill Samuels.